country. Every sport has a different culture. For instance, in football, you play hurt. You play hurt. It's not a discussion. In baseball, you don't play hurt. There's another game tomorrow. It's twice as long as the NBA season. You don't risk a worse injury. Justin Morneau, the Twins years ago, got a concussion. I mean, like he was done for the year. Aaron Rodgers gets a concussion. He's fighting to get back on the field the next week. It's not because Aaron's tougher than Justin. It's the reality of the culture of the sport. So Rob Manfred is the commissioner of Major League Baseball. The Astros got caught and are acknowledging they used a, bang the garbage can, tweak the system to learn what pitches were coming. Manfred has not suspended Houston players. Now, the GM got fired by the owner. There is public scorn. The GM got fired. The manager, a very good manager, got fired. Manfred is taking massive heat for this. He is now the world's worst commissioner. So was Roger Goodell 2 years ago with the cap drama. Oh, wait, so was Adam Silver a couple of months ago with the NBA China drama. Oh, wait, so was Gary Bettman during both 2 or 3 lockouts. You notice? It's hard being a commissioner. I can't imagine being Adam Silver. I have to be in business with companies and countries that don't share our government sort of sensibility, and they're worth billions of dollars, those contracts. That China situation was tough. They've lost hundreds of millions of dollars. It's a global league. You're dealing with players are coming from countries with different languages, different sensibilities, different cultures. What if you get a Russian player? Do you got to call Vladimir Putin and see if you can get him? I mean, it's hard. These are hard global jobs, and the job of a commissioner is to take crap because the owners don't want their names in the paper. Okay, so your job as an owner is to deflect and to take heat, and Rob Manfred is earning his pay now. But let me ask you about this, because I do think the Houston Astros obviously use some sort of system. We have no idea if Jose Altuve had a buzzer on him, so don't pretend we know. It seems like it. It's fishy, but there's no proof. You can't tell me there's proof. It seems really fishy that he didn't want anybody to take his shirt off. But all the snarky media stuff and player stuff, you don't know, so I'm not going to kick a guy out of a sport or suspend him if I don't know. What I do know is the banging the garbage can, banging this, making noise. Some players knew what pitches were coming. It's not right. This is a sport that had a steroid era. Not a steroid issue, a steroid era. Scuffed baseballs, corked bats, Black Sox scandal in 1919, pine tar incidents. You have a term in baseball, foreign substance. This is not golf. This is the sport where Roger Clemens and Rafael Palmeiro point at Congress to deny stuff we later discover is true. If you give away the secrets, you're a rat. You're a whistleblower. There is no clean baseball. There's never been a totally clean baseball, and that's not a criticism of baseball. It's just not golf. If you move a twig in golf, Vijay Singh early in his career got caught doing something that players didn't appreciate. Within players, Vijay Singh's always had a bad reputation. He's not forthright. He's not totally honest. That'll stay with him forever. When Ken Kiminiti, a player that I covered in San Diego 20 years ago, came out and said there's steroids all over this sport, he was taking them. He was ripped when Jose Canseco came out and said half the sport's taking steroids. He was ripped. He was crushed. But yet Clemens and Rafi were defended lying in front of Congress. This is not a clean sport. It's a great sport. It's got great history. The people who love it absolutely. The Dodgers should be mad. But the Dodgers in that series against Houston batted 177 at home, 120 at home with runners on in scoring position. Game 7, Cody Bellinger had an error in the first inning that set the tone. They blew that series. They couldn't hit. They couldn't hit at Dodger Stadium. That wasn't about the banging the garbage cans. The Dodgers blew that series. They weren't as good a team, and they weren't as good a team at home. So now you're going to strip the Astros of a World Series. Rob Manfred pointed this out. If you strip the Astros, and I think they cheated. I think baseball's been cheating forever. And I still love watching the World Series. And I still love watching Yankees Red Sox. And I still go to Dodger Stadium. But I know it's not golf. You know, it's in NASCAR. If you're not trying, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. They're constantly pushing the envelope. That's the sensibility, the culture of NASCAR. It's the sensibility of baseball. Here's Rob Manfred.
First of all, it had never happened in baseball. And I'm a precedent guy. I'm not saying you always follow precedent, but I think you ought to start by looking back at the way things have been done. And you have to have a really good reason to depart from that precedent. Once you go down that road of changing what happens on the field, I just don't know how you decide where you stop.
If you vacate the Astros title, what do you do with the steroid era? You don't think steroids won a few World Series titles? Really? You don't think so? You don't think they changed the outcomes of series? Really? Never? You don't think that one closer who was an average starter named Eric Gagne and became the most unhittable closer ever wrapped up a few big playoff games here or there? And I'm not picking on him. All the big sluggers were on juice, cattle steroids. You open up the door for this, you are open up a case of worms, not a can of worms. Yeah, I think Houston did something that got their GM and their manager fired and should have. But there's a big gap between that and vacating a title. We may learn this week the Red Sox cheated the following year in 2018. That story could come out today or tomorrow. So do we vacate that title? What are you going to do? Baseball has to own its baggage. The NFL owns its baggage. The NFL's like, yeah, you know what? Players get some concussions here. We got to change the rules. Baseball wants it both ways. They want to call people rats and whistleblowers, but then they're outraged when somebody gets caught. The first guy that came out and acknowledged this got ripped by players. He said, yeah, those guys back there are banging on garbage cans. Nobody wanted to hear it. And now you're outraged. I'm sorry. I wrote it down this morning. Pine tar incident, stealing signs, foreign substance, steroid era, scuffed baseballs, cork bats, 75 years of greenies. What, you think you're the U.S. Open? You think you're the Masters? Please. Calling right, calling wrong next.